This right here gonna be a cakewalk.
You're going down. Bruce Irvin.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be redoing one of the first ever lore breakdowns I did. 2 years ago, I was given an idea from a comment to do lore breakdowns, and I started with Jun Kazama, Baek-do-san, Bruce. Those three were the first, but now 2 years later, after pretty much covering every character in the story in one way or another, I wanted to revisit some of these older characters that I did at the start. I already did Jun Kazama, so if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But now today, I want to talk about Bruce Irvin, and not the football player from Atlanta, Georgia. I mean the Muay Thai champion. Looking at this character's wiki once again after all these years, something that I noticed that I did not realize before is how short it is. In comparison to pretty much every character that I did in the past, Bruce possibly has the least information on him. Even a character like Unknown, Jun Kazama, Angel, they have more words, they have more descriptions. Bruce really is sort of when you're talking about lore, he really is kind of a ghost. One minute he's there, the next he's not. One of the major reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because his relation to Kazuya. Kazuya is going to be the main bad guy, the main force in Tekken 8. You're going to need supporting characters if you want the story to be good. I think what Bandai Namco possibly will do is make some new characters for him, because in every Tekken game they create new allies. So I think they will do that, but also I think the best way they possibly can support Kazuya is with Bruce and Anna. I want to start off this video with reading from the Wikipedia. I also have one tweet in here from Michael Murray. I was able to find one tweet, but then I do have some videos in here that kind of gives us a better understanding, because when you talk about Bruce, you also have to mention Josie, Fakamon, Brian Fury, some of the characters that were his quote-unquote replacements.
You're going down.
So starting off with the Wikipedia, it says Bruce Irvin is a muscular and mohawked American Muay Thai practitioner. He lost his parents and older brother in his youth and grew up in a violent environment. He longed to make a difference and became a police officer. He was sent to Japan to investigate the multinational conglomerate Mishima Zaibatsu, who knew of Bruce's mission and therefore arranged for his flight to crash. Bruce survived the crash but becomes an amnesiac, and Kazuya hires him as bodyguard. So we're kind of given a lot here. Muay Thai practitioner loses his parents, which this sort of story is kind of repeated often throughout the story. In Tekken 7, they're starting to give these characters some actual unique backgrounds. You talk about Lucky Chloe, Gigas, Katarina, but some of the older characters, they have similar traits of revenge or loss. In Tekken 2, Bruce fought his old police partner, Lei Wulong, who had entered the tournament to arrest Kazuya. Here's one thing that I never understood. Why would a cop enter in a tournament to arrest someone? Wouldn't you just try to arrest them, tournament or no tournament? Bruce was defeated and attempted to escape on another plane, but it somehow exploded later. In truth, Bruce survives and fakes his death off screen. He is then absent from the series up until Tekken 5 as an unlockable character. After becoming reacquainted with Kazuya Mishima in the tournament, Bruce assists Kazuya in taking over G Corporation, a biotech firm, when its Nebraska branch, which fully recovers Kazuya from his previous injuries, suddenly betray him. In Tekken 7, they actually showed us this portion of the story. They showed us the moment where he was fighting Heihachi, he was trying to, take down his father, and then all of a sudden a bunch of jack robots swarmed them. After that moment, he goes to G Corporation to take control. And I recently did a big review of the whole story, and I was saying, where is Bruce in all of this? He went there and reorchestrated and reconstructed the whole thing top down, but there's no mention of Bruce. Only these faceless soldiers. Regardless, it says G Corporation then wages war with the Mishima Financial Group, now led by Jin Kazama, and Bruce becomes the captain of G Corporation's private corps and is enlisted by G Corporation to lead an army on battlefield. G Corporation attempts to gain an advantage by placing an enormous bounty on Jin, which results in the staging of the 6th tournament, which Bruce is selectable from the start and participates in an attempt to capture Jin. Now, as for the writing of his story, this is it. But I do know in his ending, one of them, I can't remember which game it was, but in his ending, he was fighting on the battlefield, just like it describes. And he was talking to someone on the radio. Don't know who it was, it didn't sound like Kazuya. But that voice told him the enemy is on the other side of the hill or the field or something like that. You know, keep pushing, keep attacking. And once he crossed over that, he never came back. That was it. And a lot of people were saying, was that Devil Jin on the other side? Because if it was, Devil Jin would have destroyed everyone. So it really is left ambiguous with what could have happened. Even if it was Devil Jin he ran into, I think it would be really cool. Well, one, if he did actually die to Devil Jin, but you know who is famous for reviving people? G Corporation. If they can bring Kazuya back from a volcano, they can definitely bring Bruce back from an encounter with Jin Kazama. And another thing too, having him actually die to Jin would explain his absence in Tekken 7. It would explain why he wasn't there with Kazuya when he was fighting all of these battles and operating the G Corporation. It's because he's down below in the back to tank, healing. You could change up his looks a little bit, maybe give him like a metal arm, I don't know, something just to spice him up the same way they did for Zafina and Kunimitsu. Because if you want him to replace Fahkumram and Josie, you're gonna need something to spice him up, because I know Josie is an incredibly popular character. She is low on the tier, so a lot of people really don't pick her, but she's beloved. Harada went on record multiple times defending this character and saying how popular she is. Fahkumram is kind of a mixed bag because Fahkumram is a powerful character and people pick him for that reason. Some people, a lot of people do like him because of the looks, the body, the height, the stature, stuff like that.
Man, he looks cool. I think he looks cool.
Wow. Dude. I see like reminiscence of Bruce in there.
But you have this big side of the community who just wants Bruce. And I feel two ways. I say in Tekken 8, I think he could possibly be there because Josie, she's good, but she's no Bruce replacement. Fahkumram, he's good, but no one likes him. All the cards right now is in Bruce's favor. Every day that passes, I feel like he will be more and more in Tekken 8. The only thing that I wish is that when it's all the people who complain on Twitter and, everywhere, Reddit, YouTube, when they put that character, if they put that character in the game, I hope you guys pick him. I hope you guys play this character so that he sticks, because that is the reason he was removed in the first place. A tweet from Michael Murray says, only gonna say this once. We wanted to make a new character. We wanted to use a real martial art. I know quite a lot about Muay Thai, and we wanted to create something special for the Thai finals. If you say pretty shit because he's not Bruce, get blocked. Now, of course, this is when Fahkumram was revealed, and I went back and watched some of those clips from different streamers, from different YouTubers, just to kind of get an understanding of how everyone felt when Fahkumram was released to now, because a lot of time has passed, a whole lot of time.
Is it Bruce?
Is it Bruce?
Damn, dude, who the fuck is this guy, Sagat? This guy makes Bruce look like a little bitch.
Holy shit. Why is he 10 feet tall? Oh, he's not suddenly as tall.
He looked way bigger in that cutscene.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he has like Bruce elements in him. Because Josie had a lot of like Bruce aspects to her.
Wow, what the hell?
And in doing so, I thought what Maximilian said was very interesting. I'll go ahead and play that video right now for you.
But I saw some like Josie-isms in there, which are obviously Bruce-isms. I guess they just replaced Bruce? Comparison-wise? It reminds me that like G is just Q, but he does more stuff. He's got all the same tools that G has, but just does way more stuff. Fuck you, mom is like the G to the original Bruce. Well, if we're just gonna keep adding all this cool new stuff to this character, let's just make him a new character and not make him just like the old one.
I recently learned a little bit about G and Q when I was playing Street Fighter probably like a month ago, and I think that is kind of an interesting way to view Fahkumram and Bruce. Of course, these characters have similar moves, but you kind of could say Fahkumram basically is Bruce, but like revamped, a new version. And regardless of all of that, the reason why I think you have this big divide between Bruce and Fahkumram is because the story, is because the progress. Ares said it himself. I really tried to find the clip, but I could not. But Ares basically said, if Fahkumram was named Bruce, he would be happy. Everyone would love it. But it's not. It's Fahkumram. It's a totally different character. And by doing that, you have the old being canned, being scrapped, being forgotten. And you have this new character sort of, being its own entity. Something that I've been saying in my live stream, and this is going to be sort of the speculation, Tekken 8, fan theory stuff. But I feel like both of these characters do not have to be rivals. The community puts these two at odds, right? Bruce versus Fahkumram. But I think what will be better is if the developers make these characters work together. A scenario that I threw out in a live stream, I said, imagine in Tekken 8 if Kazuya needs help. He has far more enemies than he does allies. So he sends Bruce to the Thailand prison to break Fahkumram out. We know Fahkumram is not a bad guy. He's just a good guy who got caught up in a bad situation. So Bruce can kind of use that as leverage. Break into the prison, reach Fahkumram's cell and say, hey, if you help us, you can have your freedom. The G Corporation will protect you, will help you, and you can live a happily ever after with your family or bears or whatever you want to do. But what we need from you right now is to help us take out Jin Kazama. And then you can kind of have this duo here of Bruce and Fahkumram. They don't have to be good cop, bad cop, but I think putting these characters together like this and making them work together would sort of bring the community whole, because right now there's a lot of inner fighting. Not just with Bruce and Fahkumram, but with a lot of characters. Christine, Eddie, Raven, Master Raven. At some point, the developers have to start addressing some of these things because people are not going to stop asking. There's a lot of questions that never get answered. And in Tekken 8, they have an opportunity to do something with a lot of these loose ends. And I think starting with Bruce, putting him in the game, starting with Jun Kazama, putting her in the game is one way to really show the community that you mean business, that you're listening.
We're so slow and I feel like we've dropped the ball, we're not in touch with the community. So I think this was probably them going like, oh, we gotta show at least a fucking second. And we got hold of one of the guys, in 3D, in the 3D department. And we're like, render that shit. Only do 1 second, And I think, honestly, that's what happened.
But that's pretty much it. That's really all of his story. Like I said, once he crossed over that hill, who knows what happens. It could have been Devil Jin. It could have been Lars. It could have been no one. I think it's in the developer's best interest to create some sort of answers there, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that's going to be it for my video. I just want to sort of talk about this character again and sort of look at how the conversation has evolved over the 2 years of Fahkumram being out and also the 2 years of me doing that video. Hopefully you like this video. If you do, please consider subscribing, liking the channel. Also check out some of the lore videos that I did. I have one on Heihachi that's really important. Jun Kazama, I'm planning on doing one for Kazuya. I'll also talk about Bruce and that. And I'm also thinking about doing Jin Kazama. We'll see how the cards fall on that one. But like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.